Hey, beautiful people, welcome back to another Linux Weekly Daily Wednesdays. LWDW, know it, you love it. We'll sit back, relax, talk about some of the fun things going on in the world of Linux and open source. I'm Vince Stone, joined by Jill Bryant. How you doing, Jill? You doing all right?
Yes,
you got the woohoos? You got the woohoos? You've heard the woohoos? It's dangerous, man. We were talking in the pre-show, if you want to go back and listen to that, if you're one of our beautiful party patrons, about M.2 screws and losing those critters, man.
Annoyance.
The key shakes and they disappear, and when you find them without magnets, crazy times. And that reminded me, I was playing around with the green screens, Jill. I told you, I just kind of threw it up on Linux Gamecast, and I had a green screen set up on Saturday. And I set it up, a lot of time and effort. I just grabbed like 2 tacks, just tacked it up on the wall. I go to take that down after we get done with the show. So it's like 1 o'clock in the morning, everything. And I'm like, I better take this down right now. So this is what reminded me of this. Because I went to pull one of the tacks down and it fell onto the floor.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. I'm like, uh-oh. And I'm in there barefoot. Dude. I'm in here barefoot.
I was going to ask. Yeah.
I just froze. I'm like, we got to take care of this right now. So yeah, like after the show, and I'm like, we just carefully like feel around, get on the floor, and like I was on all fours, like I finally found you.
Oh, good.
Dude, gotta watch out for that. But it worked out very well. I did a little bit of a launch test. Jill is running on the Razda Rock 5 ITX board right now. Yay. Using the Magewell capture card. Got that plugged in. Doing a little bit of testing because I'm getting ready to shoot everything for Interfacing Linux, show you how to get that thing set up, show you why it's so neat. It's a very interesting format to have a capture card when it doesn't require a PCI Express hole or a USB cable. I'll tell you why you might want one of those, or maybe not. It'll still be fun and hopefully a little bit informative. Stay tuned to that. I'll have it over on Interfacing Linux in the upcoming week. But Jill's got a short and reasonably condensed, but don't worry, she's going to give you we're going to put some hyperlinks in this,
yeah, definitely. This is a scale 22x part 3. Yes, it has a part 3. So last week I showed off, all the cool things that my best friend from Atlanta, Monica Ann's Madden, got me at the Southern California Linux Expo, or Scale 22X. Like this cute little pink ceramic penguin with a flourish of dry wheat she got for me at a local shop in the Netherlands by the Ubuntu Summit in 2024. So this week, I wanted to show off some of the pictures she sent me of a lot of cool Linux people with my little penguin at Ubuntu Summit 2024. She sent them right when I was starting to do the show last week, so I couldn't show them last week, but that's okay. So, one of the pictures is of our favorite Martin Wimpress, or Wimpy, kissing my pink penguin, and it is really so cute. There it is. It's just so adorable. And there's another picture with Diego Constantino with my penguin, Till Competer, Glorious Eggroll, Lucy Llewellyn, and Noah Chalaya. So I was just, there's a lot of wonderful pictures there, but we're going to put them in the show notes so you can go back and watch them. And go back and watch them. Go back and look at them in the show notes.
No, you don't tell me how I look at. I don't look at pictures. I watch them.
Yeah,
just in case they start moving, man.
Well, you do see. I watch them when you make them move. So that's why it's like a movie, then, for me.
Motion pictures. What will they think of next? All right, beautiful people, let's go ahead and hop into it this week because we got some things to talk about, starting with Thundermail.
Yeah, this is big news. For those of us that use the open source Thundermail, for those of us that use the open source Thunderbird mail client, there are new web services soon to be available, which are, not only aimed at enhancing the Thunderbird experience, but can be used as an alternative to compete with the proprietary services like Gmail and Office 365. And yes, the mistake I made earlier, one of the favorite new services is Thundermail. I've got that in my head because Thundermail provides email accounts to users who love Thunderbird, and it's a web-based email solution that is 100% open source. Oh boy, we've been waiting for this one. In fact, me and Ben have even talked about this.
Like, looking at the ones that are only like 97.2% open source. I'm like, well, finally, we got one that's 100%.
100%. And Ryan Sipes, the managing director of Thunderbird, actually states, with Thundermail, it is our goal to create a next generation email experience that is completely 100% open source and built by all of us, our contributors, and wider contributor community. So I actually signed up to the beta waitlist for Thundermail a few days ago at thundermail.com, and I'm really looking forward to testing it and trying it out and talking about it here on LWW like I am today, but being able to actually test it, that's going to be cool. And boy, so that's not the only web service that's going to be new. They are working on a Thunderbird Pro, which is actually a suite of services including Appointment, Send, and Assist. Appointment is actually a scheduling tool that allows you to send a link to someone for scheduling meetings. And this is one of the ones I'm happy about. Send is a file sharing service that is a rebirth of Firefox Send, but with improvements for sharing files. And I used to use Firefox to send large files. I used to use Firefox Send to send large files to people and was really sad when it was discontinued back in July of 2020. I think, Ven, you even played around with that one too. It was something I was using on a weekly basis, actually.
Firefox Send? I don't know if I ever used that.
Oh, okay. Well, I remember we talked about it here on LWW, but I didn't. I started using it because of that.
Dude, that's what I was going to talk about. Like, because I saw like Ryan was like at the beginning, he's like, dude, this is stuff I wanted to put like in Thunderbird like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
A decade ago. And I completely agree with that. Like 10 years ago, like right when all this stuff was starting to get integrated, because he brings up, like the Google G Suite and Office 306,050 or whatever it is. And, they built that service, and I had to pick the lesser of two evils, dude. It's like, I'm not going to go with the Microsoft route, right?
Yeah.
They go, what am I going to do with that? And Google just kind of snuck up on me. I like woke up one day and looked around. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Everything's tied into Google, my Google Drive, Google Docs, all my accounts, my password management. I'm like, what am I going to do? And I'm like, I'm going to start paying them money. That's what I'm going to do. I cut Google a check. I pay for the, it's cheap. It's like $20, whatever, but it gives me a bunch of storage. I don't have to worry about stuff like that. But what do we think about this? Like an email service. Is that something you think you'd really like kind of a vanity email, Jill, or is that something you think you'd normally use?
I think I would use it because I'm using Thunderbird Mail anyways as my default client to bring all my email services in. So I think I would definitely use it. Gosh, I would use that for, my podcasting connections. That would be good for that.
Yeah, I always want to get a take on that because, I host my own email. And, and so I got the Linux Teamcast and I got the Interfacing Linux, and I'm kind of removed from that. And I got like a billion Google email accounts, and I have those forwarded to wherever they're, just ancient ones from the old times. So I'm always curious, if you're like, yes, I'd like that. I fear this might be a missed opportunity, though, and it might be because, Thundermail sounds neat, but what if it was called the Thunderverse?
Ooh.
You're going to have Jill
that's cool.
The Thunderverse.
Yeah.
The all-encompassing, it's like, oh, yes, the email's part of the Thunderverse client. I thought that might be kind of neat, man.
Ooh, good suggestion.
Thunderverse.com is already taken. Unfortunately, I looked for it last night and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to pick that up and buy it and hold it hostage. I would have given it to you. Don't worry about it. But Thunderver.se is, I think, still available. Just throw it out there. A little bit of free marketing. But yeah, I would like something like a docs thing. Like this might be neat for somebody like tying in with calendar and scheduling and all that. But like what I need is like the docs. I don't need the calendar and scheduling and all that. That's neat, but I need that shared document. If you want to toss that in, you might get me back because
so we can get rid of all the Google services we are using now, including for the show notes, which is Google Docs. It would be nice to have Thunderbird Docs.
Or have a backup, have something that I could sync with it, because I don't want to abandon one for the other, but that I don't like that single point of failure, right? And
exactly.
I've seen
nice to have backups.
Productivity come to a screeching halt when you can't get in Docs. You're like, oh no, what am I to do? Not much. And I'm going to wait for pricing information because, like Joel said, if you're a frequent contributor to the Thunderverse, you're going to be able to get in, and everybody else, you can get on a waiting list and chill out. And like, I want to see what the pricing is, try to figure out what the business model is, and just look around because I don't use Thunderbird as an email client anymore, which is still very weird to me because Thunderbird was like my must-have, it's been my must-have Linux app since
for years.
It existed because it was the Linux email client, and I used it for email, and I just couldn't get used to that new. Listen, okay, it wasn't the UI thing. It's complete fault. That was just like the last straw of like, this is just too much. And I went over to Evolution just because Evolution seems really focused on just being a really good email client. And I'm not upset or anything. It's just like I needed just a good plain email client. So maybe this will get new people in. I don't know. I wish them best luck. I'll keep an eye on it. We'll talk about it once it rolls out, and let's see how that plays. Yeah, give me a Google Docs. Give me a Google Docs alternative Thunderbird, and I'll come
that
knocking.
is a great idea.
But yeah, having an easy open source way to send files for a lot of people, I guess that's that's what I'm always curious about. Because today, what was I doing? I was doing rclone syncing my R2 drive from Cloudflare. I got storage, but just for the average person, hey, I need to send a 500 meg file. What to do? I wouldn't even know where especially if you didn't want to use Google. I don't even know how you would go about that. So having a tool like that back in the hands of everybody would be pretty neat. Now,
awesome.
We're going to talk about April Fools in a minute, but I just want to go ahead and get this out of the way because this is not an April Fool's joke. You might think it is because, we're getting on an age. All of us are, man. We're not in our 20s. We're not in our 30s. And if you were in your 20s, you're in your 30s now, and that kind of happens. But maybe you get some nephews, nieces, or you have children of your own, and you want to give them the gift of the dark times, the long ago. Because you have the nostalgia, especially if you've been playing around with Linux and BSD, since the late 90s, early aughts, back when you take FVWM95 and IceWM and kind of Windows it up, XP things up a little bit, maybe make it look like, when Aqua came out, with the OS X and everybody was doing that. I had this horrific KDE taskbar because there was no GPU acceleration back then that it looked the business and it zoomed in, the icons when you put it.
Oh yeah, I love that. Yeah.
And it would lock my computer up. It required it was you could do it once or twice and it would just freeze. Then again, we're talking, I was young and poor and had the case fan, with an actual box fan blowing in there to try to keep it from overheating. But I ran across this Blue 95. And I thought this is just so absolutely silly. I wanted to give it a mention. Because somebody's went through the trouble of basically just setting up an ISO. It's Fedora Atomic XFCE spin with the Chicago 95 pre-installed. because some of you are looking at that, and if you're familiar with the theme, you're like, I know that theme. And you know what? Is it really necessary to spin up a distro, an entire distro with this for, XFC with a GT? No, it's not, but it's neat. And, someone took the time to do it. It's a little bit silly, but I really like it. And it's something you can just play with at home. And I wanted to give it a quick mention. Why? Because, let's have some fun, man. Let's have some fun. It's alive. And, there's something to be said. As much as people, and what we're looking at, we're talking, this is Windows 95. If you're not familiar with Chicago 95, you can install it yourself. You don't have to download it live ISO. But they got it set up where I see the little, can we zoom in and enhance on this? Oh yeah, look at that. Yeah, it's got the Netscape Navigator, Jill. Is that what that is?
Yeah. Well, it actually isn't. It's actually the Pale Moon web browser, which honestly is a really good pick because it has its own set of extensions and it supports the legacy Firefox add-ons built with Zool and XPCOM. And actually, that's kind of a web browser I use regularly because I really like those features, including the Adobe Flash Player for retro playback is included. So obviously, they had to include Pale Moon. And Cheese Bacon in chat said he noticed Winamp. Well, what that is actually Audacity, the Linux version, the Linux player that's like Winamp. And before that, it was XMMS. You remember that, Ven?
Oh yeah, there's still a fork of XMMS 2, I think, floating around.
Exactly. Well, I still use the original on some of my older machines because I like the classic XMMS.
I use Audacious.
Yeah. I'm sorry, it was Audacious, not Audacity.
I don't know, man. Listen,
they both have A's.
I use Audacious. Why? Because it still supports Jack and it doesn't spaz out like VLC and drop the syncs every time a song changes. But
yeah. And it has the skins, the Winamp skins.
Yeah. Here's the thing, man. You look at like the Windows 95 interface, and I defended this, man. Like, I got jumped on, especially way back in the day. Why? Because you know what? Microsoft got this right with the navigation. This is what you feel when you look at this. You look at it like a simpler time. You're like, yeah, it was easier to get to stuff, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. There was nothing wrong with the start button because.
Yeah, it worked.
In GNOME, you had the foot, and the KDE, you had the gear. And that's not a bad way of navigating stuff. Kind of how I do, I've played around with modern KDE recently with a bunch of these ARM boards, and a more familiar experience than GNOME out of the box, which I like to just call the Windows key because that's how you got to use GNOME for whatever GNOME is on right now. It's like, you need to do something, then hit that, then type it in. I'm like, wow, okay, sure. And I know somebody's like, no, you install these extensions. I'm like, I did it. Don't worry about it. I'm just got to get a terminal open. However, if you do want that retro thing, like this is just fun. There'll be a link in the show notes. You can pop this in, play around with it, relive those times. But if you want like that retro functionality to relive those old KDE days, we talked about it on the show, Trinity Desktop.
Oh, yeah, it's classic.
A modern reimplementation of KDE 3, which is when I checked out of KDE 3. Like, I was the KDE zealot back in the day, people. I was not Team GNOME. I was KDE, man. Only Mac users wanted to use that foot desktop, man. KDE had all the options in it. And it had gears and all the fun bits. And then KDE 4 happened, and I went over to XFC and never looked back, man. I'm like, I ain't dealing with that. KDE is a lot better. If I had to.
Yeah, it sure is. Plasma is awesome.
Yeah, like day in and day out, I would still pick KDE. Playing with modern KDE recently and playing with modern GNOME, both on Wayland, I would probably pick KDE just for, it feels more computery than what's going on over in the GNOME camp. But hey, if you like GNOME, that's cool too. We can still hang out.
Yeah. Well, what's cool is Blue 95 also included Firefox for good measure. And I just think it's so cool, Ven, how cool it is to have a modern distro that looks old school on one of my 49-inch ultra-wide displays that I have in front of me.
You know, the only thing
pretty
about
impressive.
that doesn't feel right, because you talk about a big monitor, right?
Yeah.
All of these icons are high res.
Yeah. Yeah, they're 5K. They're 5K on this monitor.
And even back when they're like 13.5 inch diagonal CRTs back, and those icons were not high res.
No, they were not.
They were not
They were
sharp.
a little chunky.
Yeah. So like that kind of sucks some of the authenticity out of it.
Yeah.
However, like I said, I reward silliness, and that was absolute silliness, and I wanted to share it with everyone.
Oh, and it even boots with the Microsoft Windows 95 logo on the live CD.
I retract everything I said. Throw it out. Burn it. I saw that Microsoft is changing the in one of the insider preview builds. Oh, two things about Microsoft related. Since we were talking about the Chicago 95 theme, they're getting away with your ability to not to have to create a Microsoft account to install Windows 11. There was a application loophole. They're like, nope. You need to take care of that. And the other thing is, I put this in our super secret Discord. If you're a Twitch sub, Patreon sub, or a YouTube sub, hook that up. Come say hi. And they are they're toying around with the idea of getting rid of the blue screen. You know, the sad brownie.
Oh, I saw that. And making it
like
black?
A black background.
Yeah,
I'm like,
black.
Do you know? Okay, I didn't know this. I installed Fedora, right, yesterday, because I'm working on another project that requires it. I didn't know this. Out of the box, I installed the latest Fedora workstation just straight from the site, and is like, hey, do you want to do the updates? And I'm like, sure, let's see how this, I never used the GUI thing for the update, but I'm like, hey, you know what, let's live a little. Let's see what it looks like. I run, I like playing with stuff, and I click on it, and I'm like, okay, I guess it's finished. Anyway, I need to shut down the VM, and I go to shut it down, and it says, don't cut off your computer. I had no idea this was a thing. This is
yes.
Fedora's like, don't shut it. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, their updates.
Whoa. And it's got I was like, what's going on? I was like, that was weird, man. I was like, okay, sure. I'm going to leave you alone, man. Kind of caught me off guard.
That's been a point of dispute among the developers.
It doesn't bother me. This is like, I was like, I thought I did the, okay, I'll just DNF upgrade next time from a terminal, because that's kind of silly. Yeah.
Because you don't have to have it do that when you shut down the computer.
Well, here's not knowing that. Now, this wasn't a VM. It didn't matter. But if you look behind me, I got everything on. I got like two banks of power switches back here, right?
Oh,
I go to shut something down. This is a modern PC. I expected this one happened to be in a VM, but in this particular scenario, PCs are just, they're gone. So, by the time I click shut down, I reach over here and kill the main power just to, have that dead switch there. Like, hopefully that wouldn't break it. I'd be terrified. I'm glad I know that now, just in case I set up like a, on the metal Fedora machine. I was like, huh.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
You gotta be careful.
All right. 137.0.
Yeah. Speaking of talking about Mozilla products, our favorite open source web browser, Firefox, has a new release, Firefox 137, which includes some very useful features to make our browsing experience better. Yay, Firefox! Focus on browser experience. This is awesome. They really are working on that. So for those of you that keep lots of tabs open, now you can organize them with tab groups.
Bad idea. Stop doing it. You're rewarding the hoarders. You're feeding their sickness.
I'm rewarding the hoarders, yeah. So tab groups allows you to put multiple tabs into a group, and they can be organized with colors and names and are safe so you can open them later. And to create a new tab group, you can right-click on any tab and select Add Tab to Group, New Group, or you can move new tabs into a group by using the right-click menu or simply dragging and dropping them in. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. And another new helpful feature is the Firefox address bar gets lots of new functionality, including a new search engine icon appears on the left of the address bar. This is the unified search button, which allows you to select an alternative search engine for your search. And there is search term persistence, where a search term is displayed by default instead of the search engine's URL. And there are secondary action buttons, which offer direct access to commonly used Firefox features such as print page. Also, intuitive search keywords to use various address bar search modes quickly using the @ parameter, like @ bookmarks, to only search in bookmarks. That feature I love. I've got hundreds, if not thousands, of bookmarks, and I'm going to be using the bookmark search a lot.
I quit using bookmarks.
Oh, yeah, I know you did. Yeah, that's right. I rely on them. I use them more than I do tabs, actually.
I don't. No, I still bookmark stuff, but I couldn't tell you the last time I opened up an actual. I don't even know where bookmarks are located.
Oh, okay. They're in the same place in the menu at the top if you enable the menu, or in the toolbar on the side if you enable it.
I think it's Control B.
Yeah, yes, there you go. And, one of my favorite new address bar functions is you can use it as an old school calculator. Yeah, just type in a math expression like 2 + 2 in the address bar, and the result of 4 will be shown in the drop-down menu.
All right.
And that's convenient because then you don't have to go to Google search to do it like most of us do.
I started using the calculator locally because I got in the habit of just doing stuff like that. And I realized I could tell a lot about what numbers I was crunching just by keeping track of what I was punching in. And I'm like, you know what, let's start. So it's good that they're going to be doing that locally. Good on them.
Yeah, definitely. And there's also now support for HEVC or H.265 playback on Linux and Android. That's a big win. It's been in beta for a while, but now it's official as part of Firefox 137. And something else really useful, Firefox supports the signing of PDF documents now. So you can put your signature in there and use that to sign PDF documents. And something we've asked for many years, PDF links are now recognized and activated as hyperlinks by Firefox. That's very convenient instead of having to cut and paste the URLs and PDFs.
I'm still amazed that we don't have to have PDF readers. I'm not even joking. When I click on a PDF and it just opens up in the browser, I'm like, we're living in the future. I love this.
I know. It is wonderful. And that was just a really nice enhancement.
Yeah.
So check out our LWDW show notes for the links to read about even more new features in Firefox 137. There are a lot of them. This was actually a big release.
Pretty big release. And I want to remind everybody that they are official ARM builds from Firefox.
Yeah.
Now.
Yes. Yeah.
I know.
With 137, Firefox 136.
And anybody with a Raspberry Pi or anything, you're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, none of those were official. Those were homebrew.
Yeah.
Oh, you can get the official downloads. Also Windows ARM too, because why not? Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
Listen, I'm just reading what it says right here.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do I use on Actually, here's the thing. I end up using Chromium on ARM because I got all the hardware acceleration stuff tied into it. Maybe I'll go try this out, play around with it, see if it works.
Awesome.
I'll play around with it. So, last thing before we get out of here. Yesterday was a hated day for some people. I still love it. If you're into technology, you've been following just the absolute madness that is April Fool's Day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been around. I'm trying to sneak over to my profile here because I was there, man. I remember this day. That's right, Gandalf. 3,000 years ago.
I remember that too, Ben.
Logging into Slashdot, me being oblivious to dates and going, what is going on? Wait, huh? This is /.omg ponies. April Fools, brilliant things like cutest website ever discovered, OMG wireless extension cord, special birthday report, /.design changes, but this really solidified, at least in my head, and this is coming up on almost 20 years ago. the joy of don't trust anything you read technology-wise on April 1st on the internet, period.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I love it when I get got. I love it when I get got. That makes me, I get a smile because I want to reward like something as well crafted. It's been several years ago. Like, ironically enough, the last time that I felt that like you had me, because they did have me, was this is probably like 5 or 6 years ago. Somebody wrote, Intel's getting back into the GPU market using x86 multi-core. It was so well written. I put it in the show notes for Linux Gamecast that week. And I went and laid down to go to sleep that I thought about it. I'm like, that makes no sense. Let me go back. And how is this thing? And I'm like, oh, right. It's April 1st. Jeez. This one, I'm about to tell you, almost ended up in our show notes because I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Good on you, It's Foss. It's news. You win by 2025. April Fools. This is the best one I read.
Yes.
Oh, snap. No snap or Flatpak. Linux distros agreed to have only one universal packaging. And excellent bit of a write-up here. It's just that simple rule in tech, man. You just can't believe anything. And I wasn't paying attention to the date. This time-honored tradition, it struck. And, It's Foss. This is the best one I read so far this year. And I started reading through this. They got nice little diagrams calling it one package, a unified Linux packaging system. And I'm thinking, I got about right here in the article. Go check out the video version of, a little flow chart with the bubbles and stuff. And I'm like, you guys, all right, somebody's going full XKCD 927 on this. Like, here's another standard. Maybe. And I was like just glossing through it. I'm like, I'll go back and reread this and maybe it'll be the thing, until I got down to right here.
Yes.
This clued me in. A development welcomed by everyone, and Mark Shuttleworth, founder of Canonical, appeared visibly disoriented when asked about abandoning Snap. And I quote, I feel strange, like thousands of forum complaints suddenly once and I'm like, wait a minute, what? He would never say that. And, then like the next one was like Linux creator Linus Torvalds says typically a response about, and it was just, delete expletives with an exploit. And I was like, that sounds like Linus. Well played. And I think this like strikes home because like one package, it would be nice to have like a unified, the closest thing we have really is Flatpak, right? Mm-hmm. And to a lesser degree, I don't even want to bring Snap into the equation. I'm sorry, Canonical, you did that to yourself. And app images. And even then, like when it comes to like containerization, you got Flatpak, you got Snap, we got app images. I'm sure there's like 10 other things that somebody's made as a hobby. And it really rings true though, doesn't it? You're like, man, that would really be kind of nice if, and one of the reasons I was installing Fedora yesterday, I'm like, I need to know how to set up this particular dev environment under Fedora because I'm working on a guide to do that. I wanted to make that available on Fedora as well as Debian. And completely two different set of moon glyphs that you got to type into the terminal between Debian, if they're not even remotely similar. And I realized a long time ago, I put this idea out there. If we could start a foundation or an organization, I will be the poster child for, if we can just get baby steps, okay? If we can just hear me out. This is not too crazy. Baby steps. We can just get every distribution to name all of their packages and numbers the same.
Yeah, that would be a huge help. Because all these years I've memorized all the Debian ones, and now when I go to Fedora, I've got to go look for the name because I don't know it by heart. Maybe
I need a dependency. Is it lib whatever -dev, or is it just the name dev, or is devs even in there? Did you name it Thunder Mountain 1640? Is it part of this other packet? Oh, it's completely different over here. And if we could just get to that would simplify things.
It really would.
So much. And it sounds like a strange thing, but just when you're telling somebody like, how do I install this? How do I get this up and running? Usually you can get away like just installing the GIMP, right? When you try to install, like, let's say OBS, you try to do that on Debian, it's going to look at you sideways, and you're like, excuse me, do you mean OBS-Studio? Huh?
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yes.
you're like, you know what, Debian, that wouldn't sting so much if I couldn't launch it just by typing in OBS, because you see, we both know what I want to install here. You know, you don't make me type in OBS-Studio to run it, because that's not the executable. And there's no other package called OBS in the Debian repo. So what do we do here?
Oh gosh. Yeah. Unified libraries is a brilliant idea, Vin. Like just names, the other day.
Man. Just names.
Just the names.
You don't have to change anything. We just all need to come to the table.
Yeah.
And, you know, just the name. You can go ham with the versioning, because I just need to be able to type in the name of the package with an asterisk after it to get it installed. Yeah. That's it.
Just recently, Vin, I was looking for the library CACA to install for an ASCII art library. It's the color ASCII art library. And they had changed it to CACA lib. Just like,
it drives me
just something so simple, those dependencies, you know, when they change, you know, even within the same the same distro, they change names.
Yeah.
And from different versions.
It's maddening. It's just something we live with. But yeah, that's why this one caught me off guard, because like part of me is like, really, here we go but there's always that little part of you like, that'd be nice, wouldn't it?
That would be nice. Yeah.
We could just all get together and somehow have like even if it was just a front end, you know, like if we did go just create a wrapper that took care of it for you, or it was like install the thing and we all just learned that. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm doing what I can between Fedora and Ubuntu, and I'm like, do I want to include, because Susie, it's going to be different, like, you know, just setting up or Arch, it's going to be different. Maybe it's different between Arch and Manjaro. I don't know, man. Then like all the other crazy stuff. Anyway, it's been fun. It's been real. Hey, you like what we do? Before we get out of here, thanks for watching the show, liking, subscribing over on the YouTube channel. That's pretty dope. And of course, all of our lovely Patreons, patreon.com/Linux Gamecast. Yeah, not Namecast, but your name can be in the cast, because they're going to be in the credits here in a minute. Get a bunch of rewards over there if you can chip in, support our little project, like live and uncut versions of the show. You get your own ad-free video, higher quality audio, access to our Discord, and a couple other things, just as a, hey, thanks for being awesome. And of course, everybody who shares the show on social media, I see you. Yeah, thank you for that. Appreciate it. But for the 466th time, let's go ahead and cue that bouncy music.
Yay! Let's thank all our beautiful patrons, including our advisor, our Theron, and our executive producers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Ian, Eship, KR Ducky, Drummer 7, the Targos, Chicago Kicks, Mules, Glorious Agril, Basil, MT, Casey Clism. I got that down. Sema Monsters, Diasing, G Joe, some of the Death Notes, Kim, Chris, Dodger, Leonardo, Martin, and the Chairlings, Mr. Alert, who's in chapter.
Hey,
in
you got
now,
one. All right, there we go.
Jeez.
Baby steps. Baby steps.
I can't read them quick enough.
Ladies and gentlemen, you got plenty of this week left on. Hope it's a great one. Come by and see us. I'll be back. Jordan will be back tomorrow. He'll be streaming some Baldur's Gate. That'll be kind of fun. And of course, we got rounds and RPGs on Fridays, followed by Linux Gamecast on Saturdays. If you can come catch a live show, hop into chat. Be a lurker if you want. Sit there. Don't say anything. I have no idea you exist. But if you want to be like, hey man, what's going on? I'll say hi back. We'll have a conversation. Till next week, everybody.
Cool.
See ya.
See you later. Bye-bye. See you next week.
Newt and the Newt.
Aww,
Newt Groot.
Thank you for joining us, Cheesy.